Hello, and welcome to an intro to Anthro with two humans. I'm human number one, John McCray.
And I'm human number two, John Lehr.
And this is the podcast where we reassess what it means to be human. And the title of today's episode is Pour Some Garum on Me, The Authentic Taste of Ancient Rome. So, John.
I had a little shiver when you said garum.
Yeah, we will get to garum coming up. First of all, we have to just say you're under the weather. You've been under the weather.
I've had a cold for I'm going on to week 3. I'm sure I'm not going to make it. So listen, keep doing the podcast.
Oh, I will.
This will cure me. Maybe the ancient Roman food will somehow, cleanse me.
I think the garum may have a healthy, healing effect on you. If not, if you could just pre-record you in different shirts, and it just nodding and kind of yeah. And you know what? If you could just some reactions, and I'll make it work. I'll make it work when you're gone.
All right. Well, AI. let's just download me to AI, and you'll be fine.
John, do you remember a few months back when we did our 20th episode on the authentic paleo diet?
Seems like yesterday.
I know it does. But we celebrated by eating an authentic Paleolithic meal.
Wait, I see what you're doing here. Every 20 episodes, we have to eat some horrible food?
Yeah, I think it was actually...
the big end, we ate a tarantula.
Right.
Oh,
I think it was actually you. Well, I'll have to go back and listen. I think it was you who said that you thought that we should do a food episode every 20th episode.
I'm an idiot.
And I think that you had suggested at that time that you were reading some book that took place in the 1700s on a British naval ship, and you were like, "Hey, I think we should eat some authentic British naval food."
Oh, God. It's funny. This is a friend of mine just reported in that he had eaten a sausage, or not sausage. I guess it was it was not pepperoni, but what do you put on crack? Salami. It was a salami.
Yeah.
And he was under the impression that salamis will last a long, long time once they're cured.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's an end date because he had trouble salting today.
You got really sick, huh?
You got really sick, and the classic quote: "I will never eat salami again." Anybody who's had, any brusque with any sort of food poisoning, you never go back. You could never go back.
We'll see how long that lasts with salami. Salami would be hard to get. If I've gotten sick off a barbecue before, and I was right back.
That's in your blood. That's like a junkie saying he's never going to go back to heroin.
I will say though, the bottle of garum that I purchased for it, and we'll get to garum later, but there was a warning in Spanish on the box that said, after you open this, be sure to refrigerate it and consume it in 60 days or something.
Oh, God. Oh, the bottle's really cool looking.
Yeah, the bottle's beautiful, which we will take a look at later. But anyway, the reason I bring all of this up, John, is this is our 40th episode.
Amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Do you have any sort of burnout? I mean, you're doing a lot of heavy lifting. How are you feeling?
No, I feel, it's challenging. I mean, because it's a lot of research, a lot of reading, but I don't know my brain would go crazy if I wasn't doing it. You know what I mean?
You've just channeled what you normally do and made it entertaining.
Yeah, I would be probably reading all those books anyway. But the one thing I want to say congratulations to you, and I also want to say thank you to our listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We couldn't do it without you, and we wouldn't want to do it without you guys. And I'm don't want to seem like I'm kissing up, but I do want to say that our listeners, I think, are really hilarious.
Yes.
And really smart. because the stuff that they send in and the topics and episode suggestions and just the emails they kill me. They're so funny.
Yeah.
And
It is an interesting niche we found with our people. We're
yeah,
all in weird stuff, but a great sense of humor around it all.
right,
Um,
right.
and I'm here to report we are closing in on 5,000 downloads,
Oh, that's
which is
amazing.
no small thing.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
as my
Um,
dad, you got to have 5,000 before you have 5,001.
right, right. Hard to argue with that. Hard to
Yeah,
argue with that logic.
that's math.
Um, but I just want to say thank you to everybody. I hope you join us for the next 20 episode because we already have over 20 on the list.
Yeah.
Uh, so we will be here for another 20 at least. And maybe by that time, John, I actually tried to find you some authentic British naval food. but,
Oh,
but
it's a
it's
lot of
all it's
pudding, right? A lot of pudding.
Yeah, and it's mostly they would eat like you'd have hardtack, which is a hard cracker, which I was able to find.
Mhm.
But then it'd be rancid beef and putrid water, basically.
Oh my god!
So I couldn't find anybody that would. The hardtack I could locate and get online, but rancid beef, I'm going to have to make that myself and send it out to
Oh
you.
god!
Speaking of bad sausage,
Well, the book
um,
talks about when they're running out of food, they start to eat rats, so we could do a rat.
ooh, ooh, yeah, I'd have to be like go to the pet shop and be like,
Oh
how
no, I
much?
could. I'm in California. You kidding? This place is running with rats. I could get us to no problem.
Okay, you take care of that. You
I'll
take
take
care of
care of
that.
the rat.
I'd be like the whole thing where it'd be like, "Hey, do you want a cage and a wheel for him?" And it'd be like, "That's
No,
okay.
get rid of dog.
That's okay. I'll just take him. Just take him."
You're gonna have to
uh,
put him in something for his habitat. No, it's all right.
it's all right. Just
It's
put
all
him in a
right.
bag.
Put
Just
him in
put
a
him in a
bag.
bag. But in the meantime, John, we're going to celebrate today with the 40th episode with an authentic meal from ancient Rome.
Yeah,
Okay.
my house smells weird.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so you know, I made a bunch of food for us. I shipped it out to John. We've heated it up. We're ready to go here, but we're going to discuss uh, ancient Roman cuisine and Roman dining habits before we get to the actual celebratory meal, I think.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We got to work before we can relax.
Right, right. And I know, whenever you see Roman banquets on TV, I don't know about you, but it always looks so opulent. Like when you see it in
Yes,
films and everybody looks beautiful and the lighting looks great.
lots of
Uh,
grapes, lots of
yeah,
fruit.
right,
Yeah,
right. It always looks like really decadent. Like the food, they bring out the food, there'll be like three people carrying a tray of food and you
yes,
look at it and you're like, God, that looks amazing. That must have tasted amazing.
yeah. But that's not what you shipped me. None of that.
I know, because that's just the movies. You know what I mean? That's like
Oh, yeah,
our modern take on what it must have been like. And it's not what Romans ate on a day-to-day basis, you know.
I think I just got
Uh
a whiff of the Garum.
yeah, it's
It kind of
it's
made me
actually yeah, the sausage, there's a lot of garum in the sausage. That's what
really. The
flavors the
sausage
sausage.
was the thing that I was looking most forward to.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll get to it. But I mean, it's something yeah, I think that's what you're smelling. Unless you
Ugh.
opened did you open the bottle already of garum?
The Garum? Yeah, I poured
Yeah.
it on the thing. Was I not supposed to do that yet?
Oh, no, no, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Uh, and just as an aside, I just wanna say, I originally, I thought, "Well, how are we going to celebrate it?" I thought about maybe we should do, like my first thought was an authentic Roman orgy.
Yeah, there we go. How
Yeah.
did you get from that to this,
Yeah,
man?
yeah, well, there's some problems with it, for the orgy idea was, first of all, there's only 2 of us.
Yeah, that's fine. You just need more than one.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you? I tried to look online to see if there was some like rules for orgies. Like there has to be a certain number before you get
There's
before
plenty.
you
If you would come out to LA, there are plenty of places we could have gone for some eyes wide shut kind of experiences.
maybe on our 60th episode. We'll have to come back.
Oh God, we're too old for that.
I know. We'll do like a authentic British naval orgy.
No,
And secondly, John, you and I are doing this all online,
right.
So I thought, how, even if we could have two people have an orgy, like how would we do it online?
We'd have to do it, VR style,
Yeah.
and each have some sort of connector to our computer that represents each other. Yeah,
I was going to use a stuffed animal for you. I was going to use a stuffed animal for
right.
you.
As long as it has a USB port, we'd be fine.
But I don't know. I've never been in like a full on orgy, but it seems like part of the fun would be like not knowing who it is that's like nibbling your ears or
Right.
sucking on your leg or something. You know
Anybody
what I
who's
mean?
I have been in a foursome, 3 women and
Yeah.
me,
Mm-hmm.
once in a trailer park in Hannibal, Missouri during my juuling days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it was great. Wine
Yeah.
everywhere, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But you don't wanna look too close. You definitely want candle.
Yeah. Yeah. You were like a Roman emperor. You were like, here
Yeah,
to
with
look
the
at me,
lights dim,
Augustus
I'm the
Caesar.
Roman emperor. With the lights on full, we're breaking many laws.
We also remember there. I know we had some nude nights in Chicago.
That's true. Nude night.
Yeah,
That's right,
A-
I'd forgotten about that.
and that was more just like where the urge would hit a group of people, men and women, and it was just like, okay, we're just sitting around. Let's go ahead and just take our clothes off.
Yeah. It was extremely asexual,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
that's what I
thing.
think. Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah. Because we just continued like sitting around. It wasn't sexual at all. It
No.
was just like let's just take our clothes off. Let's just take
Yeah.
our clothes off. And
I'd forget.
yeah, yeah. And it was what was odd was there were some people there who didn't take their clothes off. So
Right.
you had like you had some people who were still clothed sitting around talking, and some people who were also just completely naked sitting around talking.
Yes. As I recall, our friend Bruce never took his clothes off.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know. Have you ever been to Burning Man? Do you go to Burning Man at
No.
all? Or?
I don't like camping in sand. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I have no interest, and I'm sober. I mean, what am I gonna do in Burning Man? I mean,
right, right. It'd be like the worst part of camping if you're sober in there. So,
shut up!
yeah.
Shut up!
Oh, oh. And I always feel, there's people that go to Burning Man they always talk about Burning Man when they get
Yeah,
back. So I
which makes
feel
you
like
think. Yeah,
yeah,
they always talk about it, but that always makes me think, huh? They're really talking about how amazing it was. You
yeah,
know? I don't know. Anybody who's had sand in their sleeping bag knows it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
downhill.
But I always feel like they've talked about it so much. I've known people who talked about it so much that I feel like I've been there, and I feel like I've already moved on from it. You know what I mean? So without ever having been there, but
I
um,
think, yeah.
it seems like, but Nude Night it kind of reminds me of it was like a pre-Burning Man. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
it was a poor man's Burning Man.
You could do it in your living room wherever you were.
No
Just
sand.
yeah, yeah. You
No,
could
no, if, punk, what do you call it? Stone. What's the type of? They wear the hats with the goggles. The
steampunk was
steampunk.
it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on a little cold medicine. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I think it's, it was like the old fashioned Burning Man, where you could just take your clothes off for no reason in your house. Mom, dad, grandpa, grandma gather around the radio to listen to Roosevelt give a
Yeah,
fireside chat,
yeah.
and
Just
then crank the
relax.
Glen, yeah, crank the
Take
Glen
a load
Dorsey
off.
orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Take a load off. Relax, everybody.
Um, but yeah, so anyway, I kind of nixed the orgy idea. It just became like it would be too
Hmm.
difficult to pull that
I'm,
off.
I'm tracking that. Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Um
disappointed. I hear you.
yeah, I thought about if Mary walked in and just saw us in our
Yeah.
the
Oh my
middle of our
God.
Roman orgy. Uh
Oh my God.
it'd be hard to kind of convince her that we were doing this for the show. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Anthropological, honey.
Yeah, yeah. This is there's nothing pleasurable about this. This is experimental archaeology, you know. But I do have a couple questions about ancient Roman orgies. For
I'll do
example, if
my best to help.
yeah, if it didn't say on the invitation, would it be rude to ask before you arrived if there was going to be an orgy, or do you think that's a little presumptuous?
I think you're missing the point. It's got to be you got to flow with it. You got to go with it. My son had a party here last night, and there was a mosh pit. My house was
Oh, really?
filled with 150 15-year-old teenagers
Yeah,
playing super loud music.
yeah,
Unreal. It was amazing.
yeah,
And there was a mosh pit. And the way a mosh pit starts, there's no starting a mosh pit.
yeah.
Everybody's just listening, and then all of a sudden it explodes. And I think
Right.
an orgy is a little like that, you know? Where one moment you're eating some grapes and
Yeah.
talking to somebody, and the next you've got every orifice filled.
You just after dessert and before the coffee is served, you strip down and start humping your host. That's what you're saying. You're saying.
Exactly.
I hope he goes along with it. Hope he goes along with
Yeah, yeah.
it. What would you feel like if somebody invited you over explicitly for an orgy and you get there and you're the only guest? How would that make
Oh,
it? How would that
that's not an orgy, that's an org, singular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be like that'd be a little awkward. You'd be like
Yeah.
waiting, like, "Hey, when's
Well,
everybody
I
else?"
I'd be titillated, I'm sure, still. I mean, I've had experience having sex with one person, but there were question I would be concerned about them. I'd be like, "Why
Yeah,
did you say it's an orgy when it's only the 2 of us? Why didn't
right,
you
right,
you don't have to you don't have to, make a big deal out of it. Just let me
right.
know. Called a
Yeah,
booty call. Just,
you, you're you're a kind guest. You'd still go along with it, though. You wouldn't like
yeah,
storm out.
okay, I
Yeah,
get it. You need some loving, but don't blow it out of proportion.
yeah. Don't send over that invitation. You printed up that invitation saying there was going to be an orgy. I dress
Hey,
for it. I show up,
you're
and now I'm
trying
the
too
only.
hard. You're trying
Yeah,
too hard.
yeah,
Now here I
yeah,
am with my mask on and my robe with my ball gag,
yeah.
you know.
Let's get started. Let's get started.
Let's
I'm
get
starting
started.
complaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Here,
Just
put the
next
zipper
time.
hood on and let's get going.
But the idea, John, is that this banquet tonight is going to be a celebration. It's revelry. So just keep revelry in your mind.
I don't know.
Um,
No, I'm looking at the food.
yeah. In the article, lying down and vomiting between courses.
God.
Uh, so that'll give you some idea of what's going to happen tonight.
Jesus.
Silvia Marchetti quotes Alberto Giori, who's a professor of ancient philosophy in Italy, and Giori says that for Romans, eating was the supreme act of civilization and celebration of life.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
put the food before the sex.
right, right. You eat first, and then we
I
get down to
disagree
bed.
with that. I don't on a full stomach, not with a bunch of Garum down my gullet.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, with all the garum, it makes me wonder what those orgies actually smelled like.
Yeah. Oh, oh.
But
Oh,
but it's not like swimming. I mean, it's not like swimming. You don't have to like wait an hour before you start the orgy after you eat
I
or
think it's,
something.
I think that's prudent. I think you
Really?
should. I say it is like swimming. You don't want to. You don't want to pull a muscle or get a cramp.
Yeah, right in the middle of it. There's other words where you have to back out of the orgy, like tag out, tag
Oh,
out. You got to
sorry,
get.
I'm not. I'm so full. Please.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be
Oh
back.
no,
I'll be back.
not that. Give me a minute.
Yeah, you guys keep going. I'll be back. I'll be back. And also, I didn't make wreaths for us to wear.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's something that the Roman, I thought about it and I was like, I don't know. He'll think I'm going overboard with this thing if I send him a wreath.
You shipped me 3 boxes. A wreath isn't gonna tilt it. Well, did so they really did wear wreaths? That is a real thing.
Yeah, it was like a party hat almost, like going to a New Year's Eve party or something, put it on a, paper hat. The wreath was supposed to tell people,
I'm
"Hey,
ready.
we're having fun. I'm letting loose."
Get ready for yeah, so it's like wearing the, Cat in the Hat
Yeah. At a
at a
concert.
rave, yeah. If you've
Yeah.
got the cat anybody who has the Cat in the Hat, hat on, they're ready for fun.
Right, right.
Okay.
uh, where I would say, like, whenever you go to Vegas, there's always like a bachelorette party, and the
Yes.
bachelorette is always wearing some crazy
Yeah.
hat or tiara and a
Uh,
sash,
yeah.
or like the red hat ladies. Have you ever seen the red hat ladies out?
I have. I've seen the Red Hat ladies. They're this, they mainly go to theater, right? The theater and
Yeah,
opera and things like that, and they all wear red hats.
right. And they go crazy when they're out together. They go
They
crazy.
have
That red hat just is like a license to be crazy for
It's
people.
true. Costume just lets you let it go.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so true.
yeah. So that's what the wreath would have been like. It's like symbolizing, okay, everybody, we're having fun. We're gonna just let loose, let your tunic out because we're
Yep.
having fun. And before we begin or go any further, I just want to say to all the people who are real Latin or Roman experts out there, I'm going to butcher the Latin language in this episode. And I'm going to pronounce some things with an English accent, probably some things with an Italian accent, some things with a French accent, and every once in a while I'll get the Latin right. But just know that I've got a lot of languages rolling around in my head.
Well, I should hope anybody who's listened to this podcast knows that we deserve we take a little bit of latitude.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so with that mea culpa in mind, let's get started. So John, let's pretend, let me
Oh
take
boy.
you back in time,
All right.
that it's 110 AD, or in the Roman calendar, it would be the year of the consulship of Priscinius and Scipio. And
Scipio.
Scipio, yeah.
Wow.
And Trajan is our emperor,
Okay.
and the empire stretches from Great Britain to Egypt and Mesopotamia. So,
Unbelievable. It
yeah.
just, I mean, imagine how hard it would be to conquer and hold that much territory.
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah.
who's played Risk knows
Yeah. Yeah.
getting Europe and Asia is a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Right.
Best to go down in Australia, stay down there, build up your armies, and then when you're ready, come out.
Right. Exactly. It's impossible to hold Europe in risk.
No,
Impossible.
or Kamchatka. A lot of people go to Kamchatka. You're a pretty good Risk player, as I recall.
Well, yeah, I grew up playing it from an early age. My brothers would always play it. But
Always Kamchatka. You forget that. Oh my God, Kamchatka can come over to the United States.
yeah. So,
Damn it.
but you understand then, having being a accomplished risk player, that
Yes,
how hard it would be to hold an empire that large at that time.
incredible.
Yeah. But let's just say, so this is the height of the Roman Empire right now, and I've sent you an invitation to come to my villa for dinner.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to be a little presumptuous here, thinking that I would have had a villa at that time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It'd be
I see us
embarrassing.
dressed as centurions out on some goddamn, we'd be out
Yeah,
somewhere killing like, I don't know, Anglos somewhere.
yeah, like out on the Hadrian's Wall. We'd be standing out on Hadrian's
Oh,
Wall. Just, but we've talked about it before. I think we talked about it. I don't know what episode it was, but we talked about that when people imagine themselves in the past, they always imagine themselves to be an aristocrat or an emperor or like one of the one of the rich people.
not everybody
Uh,
can be king.
right. Chances are most of us would have been like the guy cleaning the sponges in the
Oh,
bathroom sponges or cleaning out
oh,
the sewer or
God.
something.
I remember now. Jesus. They used sponges for toilet paper back then.
Right, right.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we always like to think of like, oh, if I could go back in time, you think that you would be like sitting up at that, if not the head table, you'd be up there pretty close next to the head table.
No, not me. I don't want to go back in time.
Really?
No.
Really?
No. God, no. It's too hard. It sounds brutal.
Yeah. No time. Have you ever thought like I'd like to live at that time?
No, I'd like to live in the future when we're all fat, sucking on smoothies with chips in our brains, and
Yeah.
I living in a video game. That's what I want.
They just come in and like change out your your
Yeah,
smoothie tube every once in a
yeah,
while.
exactly. You roll over. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, let's just pretend that I've made a modest living as a writer of comedies
Ooh,
in the Roman
wow.
Empire. Uh,
Sophocles, Aristophanes.
right, right. And you're
Yeah.
like a successful actor in the theater back then. So we're
Oh,
self-made, but we have a little bit. We're not the richest people, but we're
right.
comfortable. Let's just say
Okay.
that.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're known for like your performance of Plautus is known throughout the throughout
Well, that's easy
the
to imagine because that is true. I do an amazing one man show about Plautus.
did you did
As
you
you
when
know.
you were in college, did you have to do any Roman or
Yeah, we
Greek
did.
plays?
Yeah, we did. Very, very quick. Nothing major. They
Yeah.
went right to Shakespeare. They skipped over all that
Oh,
crap.
really?
Well, they nodded to it, but they wanted
Yeah.
to get us into TV and film. I didn't realize, but Northwestern was a TV film factory at the, we lined up in the.
What was it? That was right after Shelley Long was the or Charlton Heston, Shelley Long were
Oh,
both.
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
God. He was a mean dude, that Charlton Heston. He was a
Yeah.
mean, angry dude.
I think was it his mom was like an agent or something. So even he had a break to get in
Yeah,
there
oh,
after all his
everybody does. Nobody comes up from nowhere. Give me a break.
But anyway, let's just say I've sent a message over to you to either to your villa or to your insula, which would be
Oh,
like an apartment building. So maybe you have like a nice apartment in
wait, why do
down.
you have a villa and I have an apartment? All right, fine. I guess we know whose fantasy this is. You know
Come on,
what?
don't.
I'm not coming. I'm not coming.
Oh
I'm
no, don't be
busy.
that way. Don't be
Yes,
that
I'm
way.
busy. And if this
No,
is
I want
another
to.
an orgy, do not invite me.
We've already started. We've already started. I'm in the middle of it. I was like, oh, I forgot to invite John. Go ahead and send somebody over there and get him over here quick. I don't know. I don't know how long I'm going to last on this thing.
Real quick.
Yeah. But anyway, normally you would send like people would like to say like I send a slave over, but even in my fantasy, I'm against people owning other people. So we're going to pretend that like I have like a poor relative working for me. So I sent him over to invite you. He's come in from whatever Kansas was back in the old Roman
Yeah.
world.
Sumeria
Yeah.
somewhere.
And so now that you've been invited, the first thing you're going to start thinking about is what should I wear? What
A
should I
sheet.
wear?
I wear a sheet. I wrap a sheet around me.
Well, that's what you would think, but the thing is, a toga. Most Romans didn't wear togas all the time.
Oh,
Uh,
shit.
yeah, a toga was really more for formal occasions.
Oh,
Yeah,
huh.
and
So what am I
and
coming
the
in? A loincloth? Like, what am I wearing?
well, well, usually you would wear for most of your occasions you would wear a tunic, which is kind of like a long shirt.
Oh, right. Yeah. I
Yeah,
like that. I like that.
right.
Okay.
But
I'm
but the thing is that the togas themselves were very impractical because in his book Ancient Rome on 5 denarii a day, which is it's a great book. Philip Matichak has written a book where it's like a Frommer's or a Fodor's guide,
oh,
as if
that's
you're
great.
as if
That's
you're going on
great.
a trip to ancient Rome, and
That's great.
yeah, and he says that the toga was really it was like a tuxedo almost. It was like only worn for formal occasions, and it was really hot during the summer, and it was really drafty during the winter to wear it.
And it's
And
constantly falling off your shoulder. You've got to constantly be attending to it.
right, because the toga was about 3 times the height of the wearer. So
Wow.
you would wrap that around your left shoulder and then go underneath your right arm and then back up over your left shoulder. And your left elbow was kept at like an angle, a right angle, that thing
Uh-huh.
would just there were no fasteners, so it would just fall off. It would just
Ugh.
so,
Oops.
yeah.
Pardon me.
I just walked right out of it. I
Yeah.
was
Excuse me. You must have stepped on my toga tail.
but, but it seems like for dinner that would be really inconvenient if you had to keep like your
Yes.
elbow or
Yeah.
just walking around in that thing.
Yeah.
Um,
That's mm-mm.
remember in the early '80s with Animal House? Remember,
Of course.
and they had the toga party. That was like
Yeah.
a big thing,
Yeah.
and it toga party kind of had a little revival after that. I think
Yes.
after Animal House.
Yes. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I've been to a toga party, I believe. Maybe I made that up. I don't know. Seems like it. I've worn a toga. I know that.
Yeah. Where did
You
you
were
wear a toga?
where did I wear a toga? I don't know, but I remember
Yeah.
it was hard to keep on my body.
Yeah, it really is.
Pen.
I don't know. Do you have you watched Animal House recently? I wonder if Animal House does that play well
I
now or does it?
doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah.
I hate to say that because it was such a seminal movie for me, but I doubt
Yeah.
it holds
Yeah.
up in any way.
I think it's the same with Caddyshack, right? I mean, because I love Caddyshack when I was younger, and I'm afraid to watch it now. I think it might
Yeah,
be.
I think yeah, me too. Me too. I think there's probably some funny stuff, but also now there's so many reports about how Chevy Chase is kind of curmudgeon and tough to work with. It's hard to
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
in that regard. But yeah, you can't go back. See, this is why I don't want to time travel. You can't do it. You got to
Yeah.
go forward.
Yeah. It would be miserable. It would be miserable to go
Oh,
back. I think. Yeah.
oh God, just the pee and the poo situation alone in
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
historical no, nope.
How about Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield? I think that one I still watch that one every once in a while. And I think there's some questionable scenes but I think overall you could still watch that one.
Well,
You could still
he's a classic. Like, he's like Don Rickles. Even
Yeah.
when he goes out of style, you still laugh.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you
Yeah.
this much: Monty Python holds pretty good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
showed my son the Meaning of Life scene where the guy explodes, the fat guy explodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life of Finn. He thought it was awesome.
There's still Life of Brian too has
Yeah,
some great Roman stuff in it.
yeah, that's
Um
true.
but anyway, Matichak, he says that, every Roman man or boy wears a toga only on certain occasions. For example, when a young man was considered or a young boy was considered finally a man, he would put on a certain type of toga for that to show that he was a man. Then when you got married, you would wear a toga, and then when you died, they would put you in a toga,
I
and then your
knew
toga.
that's what I knew that's what you were. Bar
Yeah,
mitzvah,
yeah,
marriage, and death. That's
right,
it.
right.
Were
That's
they
where
all
most.
white or were they different colors?
Usually they were supposed to be white. Only Romans could wear them. Roman citizens could wear a toga. Everybody, if you weren't a Roman citizen, you couldn't do that.
Yeah, there were a lot of
Um,
things only Roman citizens could do, like vote.
right, right. And then there was also like you would have a stripe on your toga if you were a senator, and then you would have a thinner stripe if you were a knight, for which was like the class equestrian. It was the class right below the senators.
Wow.
But besides that, I think they were usually that white or off white color. Um, Women, on the other hand, or at least respectable women, would wear something called a stola, and a stola is like a loose tube dress, and then they would wear that with a belt, and then put a shawl over it called a palla. And I think for women, they could have any color on it, but for men, the toga had to be that white or off white color.
Okay. All
And
right.
then, but like we said, most of the time, men would just be wearing tunics, and the tunic would be like a long shirt and down to about your knees, and then you would put a belt on that. And then, since there were no pockets, what guys would do is all your personal belongings that you wanted to carry along around with you, you would just drop those down the front of your shirt, down the front of your
It'll be
tunic.
down in there, like around.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
yeah.
Jeez.
So
They
yeah, that'd be
invent
like
they can invent roads and plumbing, but not a pocket.
I know, I
What
know.
is
It
like
would be
what's
like now, like you just tuck in your shirt and just drop your phone and your keys and your
ah,
wallet down there, you know.
see, this is why I don't want to go back. I like pockets.
They did say that Roman thieves or thieves in ancient Rome, what they would do is they would go up and they'd cut guys' belts and they just grab whatever dropped out of their tunic, you know, as it fell to the ground, and then they take off running.
Yeah, smart. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, now me on the other hand, at my villa, I'm getting ready because my friend Johannes is coming. Johannes Comedicus is coming over,
Oh,
and yeah. So we would do
me?
the shop. Yeah, that's you.
Johannes Comedicus?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
you
Awesome.
killed comedy. You killed comedy. You,
I killed it.
Comedicus. Yeah.
Comedicus. I love it.
But anyway, we would do the shopping, or at least at that time period, of course, the women in the household would do the shopping, and they would go to the market that was called. The markets would happen every 9 days, and they were called nudini. And nudini comes from like the just every ninth day they would have the
Well,
outdoor
what do
markets.
you do in between? I mean, your food isn't going to last for 9 days.
Well, that's that's a good point, because there were some permanent markets that the government set up just so people could get, in between if you ran out of something. But for the most part, you would have to buy all your food, or people like to buy all their food at the 9 day markets. And so you can imagine what would happen, like your food by the end of those 9 days, things were getting a little questionable. You know what I
Yeah, a
mean?
little. Yeah. Hey, you didn't let any of this food go for 9 days, did you?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking because I had to mail it. I froze it all right after I made it and then
Yeah.
sent it out to you. But I think it still arrived frozen, right? I
Yeah.
hate
Oh,
to think
yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then I put it right in my fridge, and it was still kind
Yeah,
of frozen when I took it out to thaw.
yeah. We might be having a more authentic meal than we were planning on if
Oh, my
something
stomach
happened.
just turned a little.
Romans, were morning people, so they'd always get up like before dawn, and then they try to have all of their work done by like early afternoon, so that they could go to the baths or else go home and take a siesta, for example.
Oh, I like that, except for the
Yeah,
getting up early part.
yeah. I actually, when I worked for the Italian Tourist Board, one of my bosses was was kind of kept to that old schedule. He would show up like a couple hours late every morning, work for like an hour, and then go home early for lunch. And then he'd take a long siesta, come back about 3, and then leave early to go home. So, so it was
When did he
like
work? He never worked.
I, exactly. I realized that he was only working about 2 hours a day. You know what I mean? After everything was, uh,
Finally, and the Romans did it right. I like that.
yeah. But again, like we mentioned, there was no refrigeration, so if the food, not to mention, it took the farmers lived outside of Rome, so it took them a few days to get the food
Oh,
into town, and
oh.
then once you bought it, chances are it was starting to go already starting to turn. You know, um, so what did the Romans do to deal with all this meat and vegetables that were already starting to go bad? Is that they would use a lot of spices and sauces to disguise the flavor.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Oh. Well, the
So
sauces they picked aren't all that great either, because I'm
I
smelling
know,
here and it's like, what?
I
That's what you
know,
can.
I know. There's because we're not talking about like garlic, or we're not talking about tapatio sauce, or like Tabasco or something. It's in his book Ancient Roman Cooking, Marco Gavio de Rubeis, which is obviously a pseudonym, but he says that the common Roman spices were fennel, cumin, caraway, coriander, and saffron.
Good. No
So,
salt, because they paid everybody in salt, right?
well, that's I came across that because I remember learning that in school, that the Romans paid their soldiers in salt, and that the salt, that's where we get the word salary, comes from the Romans paying people in salt. And as I was looking through all this, I came across people saying that they think that that's not correct anymore. That they're not sure. I mean, definitely salary comes from salt, but they're not sure if there's a direct connection to Romans paying people in salt.
Can I
Um,
propose a theory?
yeah,
It's celery. That's where we get salary. They paid him in
really.
celery.
Yeah, that would be. It was that vowel shift, that
Yeah,
linguistic vowel shift,
yeah.
actually took it over to salary.
I
They
love celery. I
do you?
really like it. Yeah, it's fun to eat. I like it. Whenever I have
It's
it, I'm like, I love celery.
really, there's not much flavor to it. Do you
I know,
do you
but
find
it's
there's
comfy and fun. It's just like whenever it's at somebody's party or something, I'll go right
yeah?
for it, man. I'll go right for those celery sticks.
Do you
I'll pass.
dip it in anything, or just eat
Yeah,
it
oh yeah, I
naked?
gotta dip it in something. You can't eat it.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's just all water. But I don't know. I like celery.
All right. All right. Um, uh, Real quick though, we have an episode coming up on salt and sugar together in
Excellent.
one episode, and so
Wow.
I'll research that deeper when we get to that one. But apparently, some people are saying now that they don't think that they think that they gave the soldiers salt because they sweat so much and all the marching, like you had to have salt to stay healthy, but they don't know as if that's really where the direct connection to saying that's where salary comes from. But we'll get to that in another episode.
Sounds good.
But the most popular condiment or sauce in ancient Rome was garum or garum. Uh,
Ugh.
and that's the our guest of honor at this banquet that we're having. And garum was a fermented fish sauce.
Oh,
And in her article, Food and Culinary Customs in Ancient Rome, Anicia Jacob says that garum was popular throughout the ancient Mediterranean, and she says that, quote, according to the account of Pliny the Elder, garum was produced from fish intestines, fermented with salt, and possibly with some other ingredients to create a sort of liquor. And from this production, a fish paste named Alex would result as a byproduct and was used in
wow.
cuisine.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
what's worse than fish sauce? Fermented fish sauce.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Uh,
That's the worst thing in the world.
yeah. Yeah. And it's similar to if you go to a Vietnamese restaurant, you'll find a fish sauce in there. A fermented fish sauce in like Thai restaurants and Vietnamese restaurants. And I actually like that this garum that we have today, which is based on an ancient Roman recipe, it seems a little fishier to me. You
Oh
know what I
God.
mean?
Oh,
So, but Philip Matichak, he says that to make garum, fish guts and an entire small fish, such as sprats or anchovies, are put into a large vat and salted. The whole mixture is left to ferment for a while, and then placed in a large, shallow basin open to the sun. and they could have added wine at that point. And there it's left to quote unquote mature
Oh my God.
for a month or two.
Oh my God.
After which the putrefied mixture is strained through a tightly woven wooden basket, and maybe boiled grape juice might have been added at that point, but then it would be packed into jars and sent off to ancient into Rome itself.
All that work for something so nasty.
I know. And apparently there were different qualities of garum. So you could get, like, if you were a rich person, you would get really high quality good garum, or if you were poor, you could get like the cheap garum. And I can't even imagine what the cheap garum, when you're talking about like rotting fish sauce, I can't even imagine getting
Oh
the cheap
God.
stuff, you know.
Oh,
so so
oh.
um but really, in her article, What Did Ancient Romans Eat? Erin Migdal spoke to Judith Barr and Nicole Budrovich, who are curatorial assistants at the Getty Museum, and they said that the common meal for ancient Romans included bread, and it was made from spelt, wheat, or barley. And what Matichak says is people would take the flour that they got from, or the grain that they got from the government, and then they would either go to a miller, and you'd have the miller like turn it into flour, and then you'd immediately take it to a baker to turn it into bread. Or if you were poor and couldn't do that, then what you would do is you would just have to eat your, kind of like boil the grain in hot water until it turned into a porridge, kind of like cream of wheat.
Yeah, not like cream of wheat. I haven't had
Yeah.
cream of wheat in a long time.
I know I thought about sending you that because that was really common to eat that sort of porridge at that time, because most Romans couldn't afford meat or fish. So you would eat a lot of vegetable, a lot of lentils, for example, pulses is what they call them. And
That's what they
remember,
call lentils?
yeah,
Pulses?
like a pulse is like a lentil. It's a pulse is actually it's the seed from the edible seeds of plants in the legume family is a pulse. So, but they would eat a lot of like barley. Remember when we did our episode on the paleo diet, we talked a little bit about the Gladiator cemetery,
Yeah.
and they excavated a Gladiator cemetery in Ephesus in Western Turkey. And what they found by looking at the bones is that that the gladiators were eating a lot of lentils and barley. So it was like a porridge. And the idea in his article, The Gladiator's Diet, Andrew Curry says that they did that to pack on weight, to pack on pounds, because you wanted to have a little fat layer in there to kind of protect your internal organs when you were out fighting in the ring.
Wow. So they weren't like cut. They were like
Yeah.
big guys.
They were a little chubby, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like it kind of takes away the mystique. Like you watch the movie Gladiator, and they're all
Yeah.
like really cut and everything.
Right.
And apparently they, at the time they called them that, the kind of derogatory term for a gladiator was like, a barley man, or like a lentil eater or something, because everybody made fun of them because they had to eat so many carbohydrates at that
Wow.
time. And
Jesus.
yeah, so I mean, if you think about them being a little just some chubby guys out there wrestling around, then it's a whole different feel, I think.
Yeah, it is. Although, when you're in a real fight,
Yeah.
those big guys, those big fat guys, those are the guys that kick your ass.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
was
know what I
thinking,
mean?
like, yeah, to me, I was like, well, where do we go to see a bunch of chubby guys wrestle now and fight? And I'm like, well, you got to go tailgate at an NFL game. I mean,
Yeah,
you see
exactly. Exactly. That's exactly
so,
right.
yeah, that gives you a taste of like what a real gladiator, not the game itself, but like out in the parking lot. That was,
Exactly. Guys out in the park sitting on tables and stuff.
with their shirts off,
Yeah.
wrestling around with each other. So anyway, John, the day of the party is here. You start making your way over through the filth and chaos of ancient Rome. As you know, it's a city of 1 million people.
God.
People are just throwing garbage and everything out in the streets.
And by
Uh,
everything you mean poo and pee.
Right, right. And in her article, Ancient Roman Dining, Natasha Sheldon says that dinner would usually start around 5 p.m., our modern time.
Oh, okay. Early.
Yeah, because remember, we got to get this over because we got to be up at 4 a.m. the next morning,
Oh, that's right. We have dinner and an orgy, so we got to get it going.
Yeah, we got to be done with this thing so we can get home. We got
Yeah.
to work. We got to work tomorrow. We got to do
Yeah.
this. So you would put on a relaxed tunic called a synthesis, and you'd head on over. And the Roman custom also is that you would bring your own napkin. Okay. So,
Okay. Where do I put it? I
yeah,
don't have a pocket. I got to put it down my shirt too with my wallet and
down your
everything.
shirt. Right,
God.
right. So you'd stuff that down, but bring your own napkin, and then you'll use that napkin afterwards as like a doggy bag if you want to take home anything from the
Oh,
dinner as well.
okay. That's nice.
And then also, we just passed the Ides of March, which was March 15th. So you get over to my house, there might be some people hanging out outside my house wanting to talk to me. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
are you
yeah.
saying like revolutionary talk?
Well, yeah, just some senators that don't like some of the comedies that I've written or something. Maybe they're out there
Uh-huh.
just kind of like hanging out. Like, hey, is he
Okay.
in there? Like, send him out. We want to talk to him or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. I'll get him. I'll get him.
And then on arriving at my house, Sheldon says you would be given a bowl of water to wash off with because you just tracked all the way through all that stuff on
Excellent.
the way over. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A bowl of water ain't gonna do much, but I'll take it.
Right. And then you would change from your street sandals into a pair of indoor sandals.
Oh, do I bring those too? Are they shoved down my tunic?
I think I would have some pairs of different size indoor sandals for
Oh,
you to
that's
put on. Yeah. You'd then be escorted to the triclinium or the dining room.
oh,
And the reason it's called the triclinium is that there were three couches, okay? Three
okay.
large couches in the shape of a U inside the dining room. So
Okay.
triclinium, there it's reclining, three reclining couches.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In a
And
U.
right. And so one end is open, there's a table in the middle, and the thing is when we eat, there'll be three people on each of those couches
So nine
and
people total.
nine people total, and we'll all be propped up on our sides on our left elbow.
No. So we're all facing the same way. Weird.
No, well, not except for the people who are over on the right-handed side on the right-hand couch, they're going to be facing the back wall.
Oh,
And the
I
other people,
oh
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. So, but it's important where you sit or where your host would put you because that shows your status.
I
So,
see.
me as the host, I will be. If you think that we're looking at the opened in U, I'm going to be
Yes.
on the left hand couch, all the way at the far end in the left hand couch,
Okay.
and then you, as my honored guest, will be on the middle couch, all the way over to the left, so that we're face to face. We're
I
face to
see.
face
So
when we're
we're right
yeah.
to we can talk to each other.
Right, right.
Okay.
And then
Wow. Thank you.
so and then like the other on it next honored guest will be on the same couch with you in the middle, and then some other people will be with me on my couch, and then the lowest status people will be on that right hand side couch. And
Okay. Gotcha.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Complicated.
So the reason again is that you would have a good view of the whole room and probably looking out a window or something at my garden. But the people who are on the right hand side would be looking back into the room. They wouldn't have a view at all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Thank you.
so what they say is that, Alberto Giori says that people ate lying on their bellies so that the body weight was evenly distributed so that they could relax.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and I thought about us doing this on a couch, and I actually tried it out on my couch, but I
It
was
not
like,
as easy as you thought.
well, no, and it's also like, you'd be propped up on your left elbow, and then you'd eat with your right hand and your
Yeah.
fingers. And I thought, if I spill garum on this couch, my
Yeah.
wife Mary is going to kill me. She's
God,
going
you
to
got
kill me.
that right. That garum will never come out.
All right, John. So now we're here. You've settled in. We're both facing each other on our couches, and we're on our left elbows. And now we get to the meal itself.
Okay.
And the meal itself would have been served in 3 courses: the gustatio, which would be the hors d'oeuvres, and then the main course would be the mensa prima, and then the dessert would be the mensa segunda, or
Oh,
the
boy.
first table, second table.
I'm worried about that dessert.
Yeah. So at this point, John, we're going to start with our beverages. And normally people would drink wine. Wine was served throughout the meal, and Romans always cut their wine with water or honey. There was a wine called Mulsum, which was mixed with honey. Another popular wine was Passum, which was made from raisins. And
Yum.
since you and I no longer drink, I'm going to serve us something called Posca. And
Yes.
Posca was a vinegar and water drink, which if you couldn't afford wine, poor people and soldiers would often drink Posca uh, as a cheap alternative to wine itself. So
Yeah.
now,
I've got a little Posca going here.
okay, so Posca,
To you. Thank you. Thank you, Jonas author.
thank you. This is a 1 part apple cider vinegar, 3 parts water. So
Yeah.
cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here we-
Cheers.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
It should be 100 parts water and 1 part.
Oh, I'm feeling that in my jaw. That's like
I even
really.
like vinegar, and I don't like that.
I
Oh,
was thinking it would taste like kombucha, but that's a little more intense than kombucha, I think.
oh God, yes. But
Yeah.
are you supposed to drink this? Like nowadays, people say you should be drinking apple cider. Everybody should be drinking apple
Yeah.
cider vinegar.
Yeah. I don't know if mm,
God, that hits
ooh,
you.
yeah, that's a little tough. Some people would put like honey and black pepper in there as well.
I can see that. Honey makes
Yeah.
everything better.
Yeah. So now, John, we go to the gustadio.
You sent me honey is required for this meal, and
Yeah,
you sent me my own little jar of honey. You are
I
so
know.
amazing. You're so
Well,
amazing.
I'm hosting you. So, did you put some honey in there? Did you put it in the Posca?
Oh, yeah, it makes it better.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, you just did it.
So now for our appetizer, John, we have a couple things. We have a selection of olives. We
Yeah.
have green olives from Italia. We have black Kalamata olives from Grecia, Greece. And we have green olives stuffed with anchovy paste
Ugh.
from
I'm not an
Spain,
anchovy
Hispania.
guy. I'm not an anchovy fan. Which
Okay.
should we start first?
I think you could just pick. I mean, we'll just have a
Oh,
few of these just for our.
try the anchovy first because I'm guessing I'm
Mm,
not thrilled with it.
mm.
Mm,
How is it?
not as bad as I thought. I love Kalamata. Mm.
Hey, the anchovy paste in the omelet. That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. All right.
It's something the Romans love stuffing certain foods with other foods. So that seems like was something that the Romans would have liked. There was a big thing that the Romans would do is to try to fool their guests. So they would serve you something that looked like a fish
Uh-huh.
dish with like a head and tail, and then you cut into it and realize it was all like beef liver or something. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They would like to. The idea the
that's
Romans just
scary.
love that. Yeah.
God, that's not funny. I don't. Please don't do that argument.
Okay, John. So next we have also to go with our appetizers, we have a selection of ancient Roman breads, and these breads they're beautiful. These are actually I purchased the I didn't make these myself. I actually purchased these, and they're from a place called Pistrinum, which is an online bakery specializing in ancient breads, and you can buy them on Goldbelly. And it's amazing in their literature, Pastrinum by Tabla Mediterranea. says that they are breads and pastries inspired by ancient Roman archaeology and literary sources. And their literature says that their owner, Farrell Monaco, is a Roman archaeologist, baker, and writer whose research centers on food from the Roman Mediterranean.
That's
And
genius. Really good idea.
I know. And Farrell is renowned for her experimental archaeology projects, and she recreates ancient Roman recipes using techniques and ingredients sourced from archaeological research, in addition to ancient texts and art. So these breads are authentic. One of the things that they said is that we have the panis quadratus, which is this one, which would be like probably larger, but the idea is that these were breads that were excavated from the ovens in Pompeii. Like when the Pompeii was covered in lava, they found this type of bread being baked at the time, and so we can have a little of that. It would be a larger source, but we'd take a bit of that.
Excuse me.
Mm.
Good.
Yeah, the bread is really amazing.
It's very bagel-like.
Yeah, very thick. Very thick.
Yeah, chewy.
Yeah. She also made Roman rosettes, which I think are these, which are little. They're made with savory spices, and these were. I think it's this one. This one, kind of a. It looks almost like a bagel.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, that's chewy as well. It's very good though. Hmm.
Excuse me. I still
And
have
then
a cold.
she made these crunchy crusted bread rings called ciambelle, which are milled with chickpeas. Ooh, that's a good one too. Hmm. Okay, John. So now we've had our gustatio, our appetizer. So I've sent you a bottle of the garum, as we mentioned
Oh,
before.
yes, I have it.
So now we're going to get to our main course, our mensa prima, and go ahead and open up your bottle of garum. You said you've already poured the garum on there, right?
Yeah, I already poured.
Oh, the garum,
Yeah.
the garum is tough. The garum is
Yeah.
tough. Um,
What am I pouring it on? Or what did I pour it on?
so you will want to. We have a couple of things for our main course. We have a couple of isicia or acequia, and acequia just means minced or chopped. So we have an artichoke acequia, and we have an acequia aumentata. Which so let's go ahead and try the pour a little of the garum onto the artichoke acequia and the acequia aumentata. And again, what I found when I was making these, there's not much salt in them. No, just like add salt or anything. I think salt was too expensive, so they would use
Yeah.
garum.
Wait, let me see what you're eating. I can't figure it out.
This would be the artichoke acequia.
Is this it? Right here? Does that look like it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Right there. That's not bad with the garum
God,
on it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
And
if the garum,
you made
yeah.
these.
Yeah.
God, is it hard to make them?
No, it's all very easy to make. Again, not much in the way of salt. Usually, this one was um, it was just like artichokes. I think there was it was mixed with eggs, spelt, black pepper, and then some garum put into it as well. But I would think the garum actually if you didn't have garum in there, I don't think there'd be much flavor to that thing.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can taste is the rancid fish salt.
Yeah. Okay, so next try the this will be the Osicha aumentata. It looks
Oh,
like a meatball.
yes, got it. Ooh,
And this one is chopped beef with bread, garum, black pepper, and pine nuts. They would put a lot of pine nuts on in a lot of these recipes, and a pine nut to me doesn't have much. We have here in New Mexico, we have pinon tree. I have a pinon tree out in my front yard, and there's not much flavor to a pinon. I don't think you need a lot, but they would use a lot of these recipes that I made are using pinon in them. It's like a meatball.
It was good. I
Yeah.
like it.
Okay,
It's
John.
very bland. It's bland.
Yeah, and you could see. I think you could see why people went crazy over garum with all this stuff that's so bland, or why they went crazy over salt. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
salt would help this meal a million times. But so far, I'm having a good time at your dinner party. Thank you for having me.
So, well, I'm glad we're probably talking about. We don't want to talk about business, but I'm probably asking you about like how things are. How it went on your tour, for example.
Oh,
Um, what you're working on. Um,
Mesopotamia was hell.
it's a
I
hard
hated.
audience.
Mm,
So the next thing, John, the Romans were really a common dish was dormouse, which a
okay.
dormouse was a rodent. Okay,
What is this that you say? Is that chick? Is it chicken?
it's a chicken wing. So I mean, dormice themselves now they're an endangered species. So
Really?
yeah, so uh, you can't buy dormice anymore. So, but I found some
Thank.
recipes. Yeah, I found some
Wait, is it a
recipes
mouse?
online.
Is it a rodent? Is dormouse a rodent?
Right.
Gee,
It's a little mouse. And so they would fatten them up, and then sometimes they would cut them open and then stuff them with like minced meat, or
Jesus.
sometimes they would just roast them. This one, I found a recipe. It said use chicken instead of dormouse. And this one, I tried to pick out a size that would be about the same size as a mouse.
Yeah.
Um,
It freaked
but
me out when it came. It freaked me out.
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
just got a Ziploc bag that said dormouse.
Yeah. But anyway, this one it's made with wheat flour, cumin, caraway, paprika, and honey. I let the you let the dormouse or the chicken sit overnight and all of that, and then the next day you fry it. So this would
It's
be
good. It's good.
yeah yeah. You can taste the honey in that. It's a little sweet.
Yeah, I did. I did. I could taste a little honey in that.
Mm.
I'm gonna have another piece of bread.
They loved dormouse though. At that point, that's like the common thing that people always refer to about Roman cooking is like, oh, they would eat mice, you know. Um, yeah, but most people, I mean, that would be something unusual. Most of us would be eating just the bread and the pulse porridge, for example. So then now we go to John. We're going to the sausage. And this is Lucanian sausage. The Romans ate a lot of sausage, and according to Carla Raymer and her article "Ancient Roman Recipes," the Romans soldiers brought this type of sausage back from Lucania, which was in southern Italy. And Raymer says that a lot of modern sausages in Europe can trace their history back to this Lucanian sausage. And for people who are, if you like Portuguese food or Brazilian food and you have linguiça, uh, it traces its history back to this Lucanian sausage that was brought to Rome by the Roman soldiers.
How did you make this?
So I actually had to buy a meat grinder,
Oh my
and
God, you did
yeah,
not.
yeah, and I'll post it. It was a hand meat grinder, so I made these from scratch,
Oh
and
my
this is.
God.
And then I got the meat, the sausage stuffer, and I stuffed them
Wow.
with the sausage stuffer as
Was
well.
that
But this
right?
is I it gave me a new appreciation for sausages because you don't think about now all of our sausages are so perfect,
Right.
and we just buy them already made, and there's a lot of work that goes into
A
making a
sausage.
sausage. Yeah.
These are delicious and they look amazing.
Have you tried it already? Did you have one?
Yeah, yeah, I just ate it, and I've already eaten one, and now I'm going back to the meatball.
Okay. So you're really enjoying yourself at this party. I
Oh,
want
it's
you
a great time. Thank you
to.
for having me.
So this is made with pork belly, pine nuts, black pepper, cumin, parsley, and garum. There's a lot of garum in this sausage.
Yeah, I could taste the garum for sure,
Mmm.
but it's pretty
That
good.
actually that is good. That is good.
I can't believe you made those.
Yeah.
It looks
It,
it looks so hard. How do you
it was
tie
a
the sausage off at the end?
you can well you just get the pig intestine to go into detail. You get the
Wow,
pig intestine, tie it at the end,
right?
and then the sausage stuffer just extrudes the meat into the pig intestine, and then you twist it,
I
to
see.
make those links, and then you can, as it dries, then that kind of holds in there.
It's amazing.
So yeah, that's
How did
very good actually. That
feel
sausage,
it?
I could see what.
Your meal is fantastic. I'm loving the bacon. I'm loving the sausage. The meatballs are the bread is exceptional.
Oh yeah, the bread is fantastic. I'm going to post uh, about the place that makes that, because it's just a fascinating story, and I love the bread.
Didn't you say
So
they're in Los Angeles or no?
I think they're in Los Angeles and also somewhere in Italy, but I think the person that makes the bakery is in Los Angeles.
Wow, so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Okay, John. So now we finished with our meat dishes. We go. We have our dessert.
Oh, we're already at dessert. The evening
We're
is
already.
flying by.
Yeah, and we probably would have had some music playing right now. In the background, somebody playing a lyre, maybe, or maybe some horns or something.
Uh-huh.
And
Nice.
and so for our dessert, we have some dried fruit, we have some dried figs, some dates, raisins. They would also eat, and then we have a couple special dishes. We have uh, something that's called a pear patina,
Oh boy.
and a patina was more. It would have been like almost like a flan. It's like an egg and fruit dish that usually sets up. And when I first made this, it was set up, but then when I packed it into bags to send it out to you, it collapsed. So
No, sorry. It did not come set up. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. But I think the taste will still be there. So now we'll try a little of our.
Do I put anything on it?
I think you could try it on its own at first, but it's like pears, egg, and the pears were boiled in white wine and water. So
It's good.
it is good. It is
Yeah.
good. It's very, very light, very
I
light taste
love
to
pear. This is delicious.
it. It's like, this
I'm
is
having one of
surprising.
the best nights of my life tonight.
You're getting lots of food. I know lots of free food at the
Maybe this
at
is a
my
bad
party.
time, but I'm feeling comfortable asking if how you'd feel about me dating your sister.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say it like you're asking me if I'm ready for the orgy or not. It's like, hey,
Well,
do you
well,
want
I
to?
am. I'm
All right.
sitting, I'm sitting up. My toga's, my tunic is open.
So, John, now we have the last dish that we have is it's called globuli. And the globuli are for dessert, and I would drizzle honey over these or roll them in honey. This is ricotta cheese mixed with semolina flour and then fried in olive oil. So
What's
this
this?
is
Is it fried fig here? Is that what that is? Are there two
it,
types
it,
of fig?
it's a dried fig and a date as well. I sent you,
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, sorry.
but the globuli should look like that. It's like a
Yeah,
little round ball
yeah.
of it's soft cheese, usually ricotta cheese now, but it would be a soft cheese rolled in flour and then fried in olive oil. That's not bad either. I think not
Fan-
much to it.
Not much
Yeah.
to it. Fantastic though. Wait, didn't I put some of the fish sauce on that? Didn't you tell me to pour some on that?
Did you on the globuli? It could be. I mean, you could put.
I thought you did. It was on the bag. On one of the bags, I think.
People would. I think I told you to put the fish sauce on the artichoke acecha.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I did do that.
Yeah. All right, so John, at that point, they would clear away our dishes, and we would sit back and we drink some more of our posca or our wine, and maybe I'd have like somebody come out and read some poetry to us.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I gave
and then
my handkerchief to bring a dog.
Yeah, exactly. So at a certain point, you would then say you would ask for your slippers to be brought to you.
Yes.
And that would be like the sign that it's time for you to get going, like you want to head home.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry it has to end at 7 o'clock, but as you know, we're getting up at 4 in the morning.
Right, and you have to walk home. You have to walk home as well. So
unless you have something else in mind that's happening.
Well, I really have to get up early tomorrow.
Oh.
If it wasn't work, I mean, I'd keep going. I'd keep going a little longer. So then, at that point, we'd say goodnight. You'd take your napkin full of food that we tried and things that you liked. You put on your street sandals, and you'd start heading home. And that would be the end of our ancient Roman meal.
Lovely. Lovely. This was wonderful. The food was delicious.
I know. I was surprised at how good it all is. You know, Garum's a little hard to take right on its own.
Yeah. When you open that bottle, it's like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I had
flashbacks back to the tarantula or the crickets or crazy stuff. But cuisine really developed from the early cavemen to the Romans. They figured a lot of stuff out.
Right. And I love the idea of them trying to fool people or like trying to like match different flavors, like something really salty with something really plain or savory or something. I mean, they really put thought into everything that they made, So
they really did.
So, John, I think this has been a wonderful celebration. I want to thank everyone again for joining us, and thank you for listening to us for 40 episodes, and for sending us your emails and your ideas. We just really appreciate it.
We really do. We really enjoy this, and it wouldn't, it'd be weird if it was just us doing it.
Right.
Still do it. Don't get me wrong, but it's better. It's better to enjoy a little dormouse with all of you.
Right. And yeah, it would be like an orgy. We would still do the orgy even if we were the only people that showed up. But it's definitely more fun having more people at the orgy. So anyway, cheers to all of you. Thank you, John. Congratulations.
Thank you. Here's a little vinegar water right after.
Right after this. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. Love you guys. Thanks for listening.
This is human number 2, John Lehr, signing off.
And this is human number 1. Thanks again. We love you guys, and we'll see you for the next 20 episodes. Thanks.
Bye.